We've all seen brilliant strategies gather dust. What's the secret to making new initiatives actually work and stick? Let's have a look at that. Hi, and welcome back to the LevelUp Leadership podcast. I'm Lee, and today I want to talk about what it really takes to make change happen in organisations. This episode was sparked by a recent article from the Harvard Business Review called How to Successfully Drive Change When Everything is Uncertain. It got me thinking about the kind of change I've seen in large, complex organisations and how sometimes moving fast and grabbing the moment is just as important as patient planning. The article talks about what they call an opportunistic change approach, which is about spotting the right opportunities and acting on them before the window closes. I've seen this work, not as a theory, but as a solid option for leaders navigating uncertainty. Here's what I'll cover today: why so many changes don't land, why shifting from just telling people what to do to enabling them matters, some examples of looser governance sparking innovation, alternative governance that connects rather than controls, the risks of spreading people too thin across projects, balancing short-term urgency with long-term goals, and some practical steps to help change really stick. Right, let's go. So you've got a brilliant new strategy, clear vision, solid goals, and agreement all round. Yet, months later, things haven't really changed. Sound familiar? Lots of changes fall short, not because ideas are bad, but because how they get introduced and integrated gets overlooked. It's easy to announce a change. It's harder to make it part of the daily rhythm. One common trap is dumping too much info on people, thinking if they just get the data and policies, they'll change. But that's not how people work. Imagine giving someone a marathon manual and expecting them to finish the race. They need coaching, encouragement, and a good training environment. Similarly, people need to understand why the change matters to them, feel ready for it, and trust that they can make it work. Sometimes, a new way looks good on paper, like encouraging more collaboration, but if people are already overwhelmed, or there's no space or tools to support it, it just won't take. Good implementation isn't only about the end goal, it's about checking in along the way. Are people clear about what's expected? Are they actually adopting new behaviours regularly? Is the change workable day to day? Are the costs, time, energy, stress being managed? We can miss these steps at our peril. Let's pause for a second on a big hidden challenge: people getting stretched too thin across too many projects. I recently listened to a Harvard Business Review podcast with Mark Mortensen, a professor at INSEAD. He says the only person who knows about all of the projects that someone is on is that person themselves, but often they're the only person who knows. What happens is folks get pulled in so many directions that they're over 100% booked without anyone realising. Projects that seem unrelated become linked because they share the same people. Mortensen shared that there can appear to be nothing linking two projects, but if the people in both projects are the same, they become very tightly bound, and that creates risks. If one project hits a problem, the other one can stall. The fix? Start conversations about it. Talk openly about who's doing what on which projects, when and why. Even just mapping out commitments helps leaders adjust expectations before things break. When someone says, "I'm too stretched," we need to listen and step in. Building on that, change doesn't happen in a vacuum. The nature of change itself matters. Is it clear and believable? Then there's the team environment. Are relationships strong? Is culture open or closed to new ways? Do people have what they need to communicate and learn? Outside factors like policies, budgets, or even world events can help or hurt. And of course, individual skills and motivation are part of the mix too. Leaders need to support people continuously learning and adapting. If one part breaks, the whole effort can waver. How you talk about change matters a lot. When you say it, how you say it, and whether you make space for a real dialogue all counts. Dropping big news on a Friday afternoon after months of secret planning? No, that is just trouble. Instead, bring people into the conversation early. Explain clearly, respect concerns and listen actively. Create a space where it's okay to ask questions or even stumble a little. This builds trust and helps people feel involved rather than pushed. Bring people in from all parts of the business to test out ideas before you get into the detailed planning stage. I like an exercise called a pre-mortem. Imagine the change has failed 6 months in. Ask why. Doing this in advance can help you spot risks early so you can steer around them and they don't happen in the first place. Let's talk about giving people breathing room as well. Time outside of their usual work to spark ideas. The company 3M has a famous 15% rule. For decades, they encouraged employees to spend 15% of their time on personal projects. This freedom led to the invention of the Post-it note, and it was an idea born from that creative space. Even the BBC famously once introduced the 10% time to explore new things. These moments of autonomy and creative freedom let ideas rise in ways that systems might block. Often, governance feels like a tall pyramid, lots of reporting flowing upward on a heavy timeline designed for the top. That can lead to wasted time preparing reports and can invite interference. Looking at the Harvard Business Reviews, I've seen some better ways. Let governance reach in. Teams can host informal show and tell sessions where leaders drop in at any time to see progress, ask questions, and give gentle nudges and support. If leaders don't show, that's fine, that's a quiet thumbs up, it means keep going. This can cut red tape, build trust, and keep leaders connected without micromanaging. Teams get freedom and support to push forward. One challenge leaders know is juggling quick wins with long-term goals. So the trick is finding short-term solutions that fix urgent problems and build buy-in while also pushing long-term aims. At the same time, we keep clear of quick fixes that might harm future progress. This balance, tactical and strategic, helps change stick and keeps people engaged. If you're thinking, should I wait for the perfect moment? I've learned that perfect rarely arrives. Instead, plan, try small experiments, learn, adapt, and keep a big picture. If things go sideways, pause, reflect, and adjust. Change isn't neat or linear, it's human. It relies on relationships, open talk, and trust. When you focus on how change happens, not just what changes, you can create real momentum. So here's my question for you. What could you do differently to make sure the next change you lead actually sticks with your team? I hope you found this interesting and useful. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to follow LevelUp Leadership wherever you get your podcasts and share this episode with anyone who's looking to make changes to the way they make changes. Until next time, keep leading, keep learning, and keep leveling up.